Follow me here. It's called a Sestercentennial celebration, and Ryan Cooper is here with all the details. He's the director for the Sestercentennial Festival. I had to Google that, but thank you for expanding my limited vocabulary.
And you say it so well, and that is a word that will win you Scrabble every time you play it.
You put that S on the triple word score, and it's game over. You're going home. So for those in our audience who don't really understand the history of St. Charles, how the town came about, how it came to be what we know and love today, break that down for us.
Sure. Well, just a mere 250 years ago, we had a French-Canadian fur trader and explorer named Louis Blanchette. You may recognize that name, Blanchette Bridge.
Love the bridge.
Blanchette Park. And he came and he settled in what was known as Le Petite Côtes, and that became what we know today as St. Charles. So that's what we're commemorating next month in May.
And in that era, you probably would have seen village folk, townspeople, very similar to those behind us here. Right?
Oh my goodness. Who knew? Yeah, one of the things we're celebrating here is we have so many iconic figures of St. Charles history that people are going to be able to meet during our Sestercentennial event. So you have Mary Sibley, the founder of Lindenwood. You have Louis Blanchette himself. You have Philippine Deschênes, and it's not every day you get to meet a saint in St. Charles. So it's very exciting. But then we also have moments where history comes alive, and you're going to find yourself in the first state capitol chambers with senators debating anti-dueling legislation, or a 1942 patriotic rally supporting the war effort, or two zany 1950s construction workers talking about the birth of the interstate system, which was in St. Charles. So there's a lot of history there to be proud of.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I met a 101-year-old Civil War veteran back here this morning, didn't I?
You did. George Tainter Sr. right here in 1942 was 100 years old and the oldest citizen of St. Charles, and he's still around. He's going to be there.
They're all a bit blown away when I say things like, I had to Google Sestercentennial. They're not familiar with that kind of lingo, but we're doing our best to bring them up to speed.
That's exactly right. We're trying to expand craniums here in St. Charles, and hoping that people who have been to St. Charles 1,000 times, or people who have been there, this will be their first time, that they'll really walk away learning more, seeing the city with new eyes, and learning all about its cultural gems and hidden things that we have to be proud of.
And the city of St. Charles, especially the historic part of downtown along Main Street, there's always such a wonderful backdrop for this sort of thing. So tell us exactly where we can find it, when we can find it. It's a weekend coming up in May, right?
That's right. So May 18th and 19th is the big adventure, 250 years in the making. We'll have a parade that's a living timeline. We'll have historical demonstrators, lecturers, different activities for the whole family to enjoy. So May 18th and 19th along historic Main Street.
Super family friendly, and there's a scavenger hunt that'll probably pique the kids' interest as well, right?
It is. If you see on my little lapel here, I've got this little dog dude here. So Lewis and Clark, of course, you may have heard of them.
I've once or twice.
They had a little canine companion named Seaman, and we have 25 statues of him that are all around St. Charles, all painted differently. You may remember those famous birthday cakes across the river in St. Louis a few years back. So people can find these dogs. It'll be all around St. Charles and bring out their adventurous side.
I love it. We need a little bringing out of the adventurous side once in a while. Ryan, thank you so much for what you do for the city of St. Charles. And a happy Sestercentennial, everyone.